Hello there. Welcome back to another episode of I Love This, You Should Too, a podcast with me, Samantha Hughes, and him, Indy Randawa. How are you, Indy?
Oh, not nearly as peppy as you.
I am just really pushing it tonight.
You're all pepped up.
Yeah, it's very late, so I'm like trying to really go for it. There is no medium pep right now. It's sleeping or extra pep.
I like it. Let's lean into it.
Okay, perfect.
I unfortunately have a medium, so I'm just sleepy.
Oh.
You can't tell, but I'm making a real sleepy face.
It's extremely sleepy. I can see it. Oh, somebody put that baby to bed. I Love This, You Should Too is a member of the Alberta Podcast Network, which is locally grown and community supported. And we are so excited to have the opportunity to be on this wonderful network.
So today we are each going to give you a spoiler-free thing of the week, something we've been into lately. And then at the end, I will tell Samantha what we are watching for our big watch next week.
Ooh.
Oh, that sounded spooky.
Oh, I don't know.
We're getting close.
It feels kind of fallish, so just instantly I jumped to Halloween.
Yeah, and this is coming out. It's September now.
Yes. Happy back to school.
Oh, yeah. Luckily, I don't have to do that.
No.
Man, I spent too many years in school.
I still love the ritual of back to school. I always buy myself some new pens and it's new daytimer time. So it feels like I'm getting ready for back to school, even though my job is 12 months a year and there is really no difference.
I like that.
You just gotta mark the change of the season with pens.
And pumpkin spice stuff.
Oh, I'm so excited about pumpkin spice.
Oh, no. I think we talked about this last year, how I don't get it.
It's tasty.
It's not, a lot of the time it is. But the pumpkin spice coffee, I don't think it is. I don't think coffee and pumpkin work well together.
No.
I think it's something we've all agreed upon that is just a harmless untruth that we all agree upon, and it makes us happy, but in reality, coffee and pumpkin don't go well together.
Interesting.
And speaking of harmless untruths, maybe I should get into my thing of the week.
Go for it.
So I rarely do novels as my thing of the week because I feel like I can't talk about them without spoiling it or without getting into too much detail. Mm-hmm. But I recently started reading the works of Kurt Vonnegut, and I haven't read any of his stuff since I was in university, so I've been going through them. And I just finished Cat's Cradle, which is one of his most famous. Probably Slaughterhouse-Five is the most well-known, but this one is up there as well. So my thing of the week is Cat's Cradle by Kurt Vonnegut. And to talk about it, I'm not really going to tell you what the book's about.
Okay.
I'm going to tell you a couple of scenes that I really liked and things that were in the book that were interesting to me. And if those things are interesting to you, you will probably like this book, but you won't be spoiled by any of the things I'm going to say.
So if you like cats.
Oh yeah, so a Cat's Cradle. Do you know what a Cat's Cradle is?
Isn't that the string game?
Yeah, but if you look at it, no damn cat, no damn cradle.
Oh.
It's just a harmless truth we all agree upon that isn't actually reality.
Like Starbucks.
Like pumpkin spice being good. There are good pumpkin spices.
Yes, there is.
For the first time last year, I tried something. You bought me a Starbucks pumpkin spice something.
And you had your first pumpkin spice latte, and you were not a fan.
No, I thought it was pretty bad.
Oh, well, I loved it.
I could see more creamy things going well with pumpkin spice. Like their chas, or what are the chai tea lattes, that could be pumpkin spiced much more effectively than coffee, I think.
Yeah, but it's such a good flavor by itself.
So's coffee.
I don't know.
But again,
I feel like we're just going to agree to disagree on this one forever.
Back to Cat's Cradle. It's described as a satirical postmodern novel with science fiction elements. And it's largely allegorical, and it has a lot to do with the purpose of religion. It touches on the arms race. And one little fun thing was that Kurt Vonnegut was trying to get his master's from the University of Chicago back in 1947, and he got turned down. They said, no, this is junk. And many years later, he wrote Cat's Cradle, And the University of Chicago just took it upon themselves to accept that as his thesis and gave him his master's in 1971.
Wow.
Yeah, but he was grumpy with them by then.
Oh, okay.
I read one review that I really liked about Cat's Cradle, and Theodore Sturgeon, who is a critic and a novelist, and I think he wrote a lot of Star Trek also himself, he said that this book is appalling, hilarious, shocking, and infuriating. He said that this is the most annoying book and you must read it. And you better take it lightly, because if you don't, you'll go off weeping and shoot yourself.
Oh.
So that's a pretty strong statement, and I really like that.
I don't even know what to think.
So the average chapter in this is about like 2 or 3 pages, and they all have titles that are exactly what happens in that chapter. Oh. So you could read the table of contents and it's effectively like a summary of the novel, really.
Interesting.
One thing I really like is there's a religion in the book, and it's not really the central plot of it, but it reflects a lot of the central themes. And the religion is called Bokononism because it is invented by a man named Bokonon, or Bokonin, perhaps? I don't really know. No. Something like that. But I'd like to read you from the Book of Bokonon.
Okay.
Verse 1, Book 1, is, "All of the true things that I'm about to tell you are shameless lies." And I love that. All the true things I'm about to tell you are shameless lies.
Wow.
And verses 2 through 5 are about about Genesis, about their creation story. And it says, "In the beginning, God created the earth, and he looked upon it in his cosmic loneliness. And God said, 'Let us make living creatures out of mud, so the mud can see what we have done.' And God created every living creature that now moveth. And one was man. Mud as man alone could speak. God leaned close as mud as man sat up, looked around and spoke. Man blinked. 'What is the purpose of all this?' he asked politely. 'Everything must have a purpose?' asked God. 'Certainly,' said man. 'Then I leave it to you to think of one for all this,' said God, and he went away."
Amen.
Isn't that great?
Yeah.
I like love that so much, because that's the idea we all have of what's the meaning of life, Samantha?
Starbucks.
Maybe.
Cheerleading.
Perhaps.
Glitter.
Probably.
Yeah.
But everyone we talk about that a lot.
Yeah.
And people talk about like, oh, when you die, you'll find out the meaning of life. And everything's a search for the meaning of life. But why does it have to have meaning?
Yeah.
Like, I think it's silly that so many people think that I look for meaning too hard in a movie, when a group of people clearly made the movie to convey some sort of meaning. That's what it is for. Maybe their meaning is lost on me, or I'm seeing meanings that is not there, but there is meaning in art. That's what it's there for.
Right.
But why does life have to have a meaning?
This is very deep.
We've talked about it before, how I think I'm kind of a nihilist, but not like the dark kind.
The hardcore kind?
Yeah, I'm like, nothing matters, so like, have fun.
You're a light nihilist.
And it talks a lot about that kind of stuff. There's a lot of criticism of nihilism in this. So let's go on. I think it's verse 7, book 1, is, "Live by the foma that make you brave and kind and healthy and happy. Someday, this crazy world will have to end." There's a lot of specific Bokononist words. Foma are harmless untruths. So little lies that we all tell each other to kind of make things easier on us.
Wow.
And a karass is a group of people who are linked in a cosmically significant manner, even when superficial linkages are not evident. So people who are like-minded to you, but there are also like false karasses, which is called a granfaloon. So it's a group of people who imagine that they have a connection, but it does not actually exist. And the example in the book are Hoosiers, people from Indiana. They think like, oh, we're all the same, we're from Indiana, and they try to like make that a thing,
right.
But that doesn't make you the same. You're just born in the same place.
Yeah. Huh. That sounds like a very cool book.
One of my favorite books of the books of Bokonon is the 14th book, because it has a long title and there's only one verse in it. So the title of the 14th book of Bokonon is, "What can a thoughtful man hope for mankind on earth, given the experience of the past 1,000,000 years?" And the only verse in it is, Nothing.
No.
And I like that too. It's funny. I know it's funny to people like me, and it's probably annoying to many others. And I like that a lot of the characters in this book live with intentional self-delusion. That's always like a funny thing to me when people trick themselves into believing something so much that they then believe it and that becomes their identity.
Yeah.
There's a lot of that in this.
Is that like when people want to believe in something so badly that they're like believing in it?
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah. Isn't that like cults and...
There you go.
Yeah.
That would be a Grand Falloon, a cult probably.
Oh, I get it.
And there's a part where, because, like, of course, given the stuff I've already talked about, someone on an airplane is talking about the meaning of life or something, and somebody overhears and says, like, oh, I thought they figured that out. I read it in the paper. And then someone goes like, oh, you read it in the paper? What's the meaning of life? And they say like, oh, like proteins, I think. And then the other person said like, oh, yeah, I read that. The meaning of life is proteins. Yeah. All right. That just seems like a conversation that I would overhear on a bus.
Sometimes I do that to my athletes.
How do you mean? You tell them the meaning of life is...
No, like not the meaning of life, but like other things where you like, sometimes they just like mimic what you're saying and like agree with you like that.
Yeah.
And so you just like throw some false information in there like, oh yeah, there's like the president of cheerleading said this, and they're like, oh yeah, I know, I saw that on Facebook.
The president of cheerleading.
Yeah. There's no president of cheerleading.
They also talked a little bit about why Westerners go to resorts, because they feel the need to be like loved everywhere. I think this is more American than all Western civilization, but they feel like we're the greatest and we should be loved everywhere. And then they go places and people don't like them.
Right.
So they're like, and it really conflicts with your way of thinking, right?
Yeah.
So they go to resorts, so you go to a foreign place, but everyone acts like they love you.
Because they're being paid to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the same thing about people hitting on waitresses. Because they're like, oh, she was so nice to me, though. It's like, yeah, that's her job.
Yeah, no, it's literally my job just to smile at you.
And this is one part that has to do with nihilism that I thought was really funny. So somebody is painting something, which I don't want to give away because that's kind of important. But to them, it's like a treatise on nihilism and meaninglessness. And they're painting this thing. And then this other character comes up to them. And they're like a good and nice person throughout this book. And they go over and they just contemplate it for a while and they look at it and then they pick it up and they throw it off the balcony and into the river below. And they're like, yeah, I get it. That was about nothingness and it's meaningless and your painting is meaningless.
What?
And I like that because you can't talk about nihilism truly, I think, right? Because if your conceit is that everything is meaningless, your conversation about nihilism is utterly meaningless. Right? And then I think that's kind of what they're saying there. I might be reading into it too much, but I think that's what that means. And there's a doctor who's only in it for a little bit, and it's revealed that they used to be an SS scientist, working for the Nazis, that is.
Oh.
And there's a line about, like, oh yeah, if he's really changed his ways, if he keeps this up, he's going to save as many as he killed by the year 3022. And it's meant, like, it's deadpan, but it's pretty funny because... Yeah. And we, of course, not we, the Americans did bring a lot of Nazis over and let them be free if they just gave their technology to them. Yeah, they wouldn't have gone to the moon with the Nazis. Or not at that time, at least.
Gross.
Yeah, there's a lot of Nazi stuff in American history. They kind of love the Nazis. Well, that's not such a stretch because they currently love Nazis.
Yeah.
Yeah. Look at Operation Paperclip.
What?
That's just about bringing Nazis to America.
Oh, okay.
To give them jobs.
I thought you meant like it was a current thing.
Now it's about getting them elected to office.
Ugh.
But I digress. I'll maybe talk about one last thing, and both the books of Bokonon and the main plot has to deal with what they call dynamic tension. And there, it's something that's taken from Charles Atlas, who was like a bodybuilder type guy who used springs and like using your body weight against itself, and he called that dynamic tension.
Yeah.
And that's how you build muscles. But in this, it's the idea that forces need to be pitted against each other to maintain some sort of balance. And that is very prescient today. Oh, I guess it's always very prescient that we need like a common enemy. If everybody believes like, oh, it's the immigrants' fault, right? And then you don't argue about all the other things. You don't realize that your government is doing something to you, or it's the capitalist society that you're in that is keeping you unemployed. You just blame someone else.
Right.
And a lot of the book has to do with that and breaking down very clearly there's things that are made just to make people angry and to great advantage for them.
Oh.
And it's a thing we do here a lot as well. Like, Albertans love to blame somebody else, like, they canceled the pipeline, so that's why I don't have a job. And you're like, that's not actually what happened at all. But everyone loves to blame somebody else, and then you're all on the same team, right?
Exactly.
It's the same reason you cheer for your hometown sports team, and also why racism is, so fun.
I don't think racism is fun.
Well, I think for racists, I think it is.
I think racism is fun for racists, but not for everyone else.
No. But most things are fun for the people participating, but not the others. So that's my really roundabout recommendation for Cat's Cradle by Kurt Vonnegut. It's a great novel. I think it's a pretty easy read. And the main plot itself, which I didn't even discuss at all, but is very interesting, very fun, and it is funny. It's dark for sure, but it is a really funny book. So check out Cat's Cradle by Kurt Vonnegut, which is available everywhere.
I think I've seen all of his books everywhere.
Yeah, there's one on the table right now. I know. 2 on the table right now. I'm on to the short stories currently.
That's what I was looking at.
All right. Well, Samantha, what's your thing of the week?
Well, before I get on to my thing of the week, I thought I should talk about our first sponsor of the episode. We are sponsored this week by Alberta Treasury Branch. ATB was built to help Alberta businesses, from CEBA applications to lending information, debt consolidation, loans, or deferrals. Whatever your business is facing right now, ATB is there to help with expert advice. And with today's economy top of mind in business, stay up to date with the Future of podcast, hosted by ATB's chief economist, Todd Hirsch. To learn more, visit atb.com. Okay, well, this week I am doing something that you've been asking me to do for a couple weeks now. What have I been watching, Indy?
Oh, that stupid boat show.
I have been watching the 2013 boat show called Below Deck, which is a reality television series from Bravo that chronicles the lives of crew members who work and reside aboard a super yacht during a charter season, which is about 6 weeks. It chronicles the crew as they deal with their personal issues in order to make their professional careers work.
I almost take issue with your use of the word chronicle. That seems so much grander than the bits of the show I've seen, because every time I've come in and you're watching it, people are drunk and like hitting on each other, and that's it.
It chronicles their idiocy.
Oh, well, that I
am I allowed to use the word chronicle
in that context? Idiocy? I think so. Yeah.
So there are 8 seasons in total of this. I am on season 7 currently, and it's just dumb, and I kind of like it because it's dumb.
How many episodes per season are there around?
So there's 122 episodes in total.
Whoa. And they're like hour-long episodes?
Like 45 minutes, yeah.
So you are probably over 100 in.
Yeah.
And tell the good people out there, how long has it taken you to watch these 100 or so episodes?
Like 6 weeks.
That's a lot of Below Deck.
I know. No, I just needed something dumb and kind of mindless to watch in the background, and I'm kind of like into the character, like the people who are on this show now, because there's ones that return every season. Mm-hmm. So then you start to follow people, and I probably wouldn't have watched this show for 7 seasons if it had like a different cast every time, because it's not that interesting.
But now they're all your friends.
Now they're all people I know from television.
Do you like them?
Not really. It's more of a like love to hate thing, I think.
Is it?
It's like I sit there and watch it, I'm like, this is dumb, but it's kind of entertaining.
Because I see the appeal of watching those types of shows that you hate with someone. Mm-hmm. But if I were by myself and I actually hated the people on there, I would just hate them. And you don't have like the comedic release to like make fun of them with someone else. But you still find that you can just be like, look at this dummy, and it's fun.
And I'm not like, this is definitely like a background show. I'm not sitting there watching it and not doing anything else. Usually I'm like cross-stitching or like playing on my phone, or I'm doing something like I'm watching it on my lunch break at work and I'm doing other things on my computer or something. So I'm not like full 100% focus.
You don't have to temper your love of Below Deck so much. Be proud of your love of, I was gonna make reference to something that happens on the show, but all I've seen is like drunk people falling around a lot. You only come in the episode, and it's amazing, between charters. Like, you never see them working. You only ever see them drunk at the bar. I did see them working, and then it was customers being drunk and falling around. Yes. So I did see that, and then they like ate food off of like naked bodies and stuff. Yes, you did see that episode. Yeah. Often the deckhands, who are tanned muscle men, are usually like asked to be scantily clad when there are groups of women on the boat. Yeah. So that does happen a lot. But I also found it really interesting, the kind of intricacy of just like running a boat. Mm-hmm. Like, these yachts are huge. There's 11 crew members on the boat, and then there's also like room for up to 10 people to be like guests on the boat. So it's just like a crazy amount of people all in one space. We should get one of those. Do you have like $70 million? No. So we can't get one then. They are extremely expensive, and part of the fun of watching is kind of critiquing what they're doing and then trying to guess how much of a tip they're going to get at the end. Because sometimes things go wrong, or sometimes guests are really picky, and then it's anywhere from like $11,000 to $20,000. The tip. Oh, yeah, it's quite a tip. Yeah. And there's Richies on it. It's all rich people. That makes sense. You do love shows with rich people. I never like the guests. That's the funny part. They're all bad. But it seems like the crew is also bad. Yeah. So everyone's bad. I like the crew more than I like the guests. But okay. Yeah. Yeah. So if you're looking for something dumb to watch, and you're looking for something that is long and has lots of episodes to watch, go find Below Deck. It is on the Hey You channel on Prime Video in Canada, and I think Hey You has its own app as well. So you can get that and watch as much as you can during the 30-day free trial. And did you get Hey You just for this show? No, I got it for the true crime stuff, and then... Oh, and then you found the show. And then it sucked, all the true crime stuff. Yeah, I browsed through that channel. It looks like garbage. It's not like B-list true crime. It's like G-list true crime. It was so bad. I tried to watch a whole bunch of it, and it was just poorly filmed, and it's some of it... It's just fear-mongering for housewives is all of the ones that I saw. Yeah, it wasn't even like interesting, oh, this is how we solved the case. It's just like white men patting themselves on the back for like being around murder. Yeah, and it's just like, hey, are you beautiful and white and at home right now? Someone could murder you! So much murder all the time, everywhere. Yeah, so I wouldn't recommend Hey You for the true crime, but the boat content is quality. Good quality boat content. Yeah. I've tried to watch it with you a couple of times, and you'd think I would make fun of it, but I didn't. I sat there in silence. Looking really and you would disappointed. You just would look at me and be like, fine, I'll change it. And I was like, I didn't say anything, but... You just looked so disappointed in me. No, I think what I was agog. My mouth was open, and I was in disbelief often of what I was seeing. You just looked really disappointed in me. You may have taken that as just... I was disappointed in them. They were behaving not so well. Because every time I would come in, it would be like a woman would walk on, and then some dude would be like, yeah, I'll bang her. No, not that one, though. I have standards, bro. It was a lot of that kind of stuff, which... Very true. I didn't care for as much. But are you sad now that your journey below deck is soon to come to an end?
Well, there's Below Deck Mediterranean.
Oh my god.
But I don't know that I'm going to watch it.
I think you might.
I don't think I will. We'll see.
All right, let's take this time to thank our second sponsor for the day, and that is the Edmonton Community Foundation. And the Edmonton Community Foundation acts as a bridge between donors and charities to create a strong, vibrant community for generations to come. Mm-hmm. You can start an endowment fund yourself or with a group, and once it reaches $10,000, it can start distributing funds. They've also conducted an annual checkup in partnership with the Edmonton Social Planning Council to measure how the community is doing, and this year's focus is on millennials.
Yeah, that's us.
Yeah. Because we're broke, all of us millennials, right?
True.
But if you want to find out more, you can learn more at ecfoundation.org.
Sounds cool. How do we get that great, great money?
Well, you have to go to the website. I just told you. Come on. You have to pay attention.
Oh.
We start an endowment fund, and when it reaches $10,000, I can start paying out.
I don't have $10,000.
Well, you have to get your friends together, and you go to the website.
So my friends give me money.
Hopefully. Yeah, let's see if we can work it like that.
Okay, perfect.
Well, I think we are ready to reveal the movie for next week.
Ooh.
That was pretty good. Again, spooky.
Ooh.
So we're not quite at Halloween, but for all of October, or Spooktober, as it's known around here, we'll be doing all spooky stuff for all 4 episodes that month.
Spooky
And
Halloween.
I'm thinking I might as well start a little early. I'm not going to go full horror. Not yet. That's for Halloween. But just a little spooky.
Warm up spooky.
Warm up spooky.
Oh.
This is warming up for the spooky season.
Okay.
Because this movie, such a staple, I almost didn't even think about it to put it on the show because it's just a movie that I thought everybody knows and it's part of the, cultural zeitgeist. And that movie is Beetlejuice.
My Little Pony. Oh.
Beetlejuice.
Ah! What happened?
Well, yeah, you don't know. So you've never seen Beetlejuice?
I don't think so.
That was surprising to me, but then I think about it, and it is older than I think it is, because it came out in 1988. It's a comedy, but it has kind of spooky elements and fantasy elements to it, and it's a part 2 of our When Tim Burton Was Good series.
Okay.
We did Edward Scissorhands quite a while ago.
Right.
And you enjoyed that.
I like that, yeah.
So that was a movie that had kind of horror fantasy elements and still somewhat grounded in reality, but it's a different reality than we see every day. It's very stylized, and that's what Beetlejuice definitely has in common with that one. So it was a really successful movie when it came out because it had a budget of $15 million and made about $80 million on that.
Oh, wow.
So for 88, that was a really good haul. So here are some people who are in it, a bunch of people that we love. First, Michael Keaton. Mm-hmm. What's your feelings on him?
Batman?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The original Batman to me. I guess, Adam West and stuff, but to me...
I feel like Adam West is my Batman, but...
Yeah. I loved Michael Keaton when I was a kid, which seems now like that would be an odd choice for a child to love, but he was Beetlejuice and Batman, so of course I loved him.
Yeah.
Someone you might be familiar with, Catherine O'Hara.
Oh, love her. Moira Rose.
Jeffrey Jones, who you probably don't know the name, and then you'll see him and you'll be like, oh yeah, that guy's in everything.
Yeah.
Winona Ryder.
Yes, familiar.
Alec Baldwin.
Also familiar.
And one of this podcast's favorites, Gina Davis.
Oh!
So, great cast.
That is a very good cast, yeah.
Tim Burton at the time, great director. You got Danny Elfman doing the score, fantastic composer. Great soundtrack too. And I was like, 4 when this movie came out.
Yeah.
So I must not have seen it in a theater because also my family didn't really go to movies in theaters.
Yeah.
Not often at all. So I don't know when I've seen it, but it feels like I've always seen it. I don't remember a time where I wasn't familiar with Beetlejuice. But I feel like it must have had some sort of impact on me because I started making little movies with our handy cam when I was probably around 6-7 years old. And they were all comedies with horror elements.
Right.
And I always think of that as such a genre, but when you think about it, there's not many movies like that.
No, that's true.
But everything I made was like that, and still things that we make like more recently, horror comedy.
Wow.
So I think Beetlejuice probably had a bigger effect on me than I realized. I have dressed as Beetlejuice for Halloween, and I still have my Beetlejuice costume. We could do that again. You could be Lydia.
I'll know who that is next week.
Lydia Dietz. Winona Ryder, all gothed up.
Oh, I've seen her bangs. She has really weird bangs.
Like the pointy bangs?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think you're going to have a lot of fun with some of the costuming and overall style because, like in Edward Scissorhands, it's not quite our world. Everything is heightened. Mm-hmm. So their costumes, the sets, everything reflects that. And it's a fun movie. So I think some parts you might just be like, that was weird. But this was a time where you could do that. It doesn't seem like something that could happen today. To have a really well-known cast, a really well-known director, and then just doing something very weird. You don't get that very often anymore.
Yeah, that's true. It's usually bad, not weird.
Right. You can do bad and you can do cookie cutter.
Yeah.
But strange movies are hard to come by. Well, I shouldn't say that because there is a great resurgence in independent film, but for a established studio and director and cast, you don't get a lot of very strange things out of them. So I love that at the time Tim Burton was doing a good bit of that.
Wow, you're really selling me on this movie.
You sounded a little sarcastic,
no,
but you mean it?
That's the exhaustion. Sorry. You are legitimately selling me on this movie, and I'm kind of excited to watch it now.
I think it'll be fun. Let's watch a little trailer.
Okay.
From the director of Pee-wee's Big Adventure, Adam and Barbara are
ghosts. What's the good of being a ghost if you can't frighten people away?
Their house is being haunted by the living.
Maybe the house could use a little remodeling.
And they can't scare them into leaving.
They're dead. It's a little late to be neurotic.
So they're calling on Beetlejuice.
Beetlejuice!
Who's no ordinary ghost.
You don't want his help.
Can you be scary?
What do you think of this?
Now, the party's over.
You want somebody out of the house? I want to get somebody out of your house.
But the fun has just begun.
It's showtime. Learn to throw your voice, fool your friends, fun and party.
Not bad.
This is amazing.
Want a cigarette?
Oh, no, thank you.
Oh, yeah, here I come, baby.
He's guaranteed to put some life
Attention, keyword shoppers.
in your afterlife. Michael Keaton is Beetlejuice.
I'm the ghost with the most, babe.
Wow, I was trying not to tell much about the plot, and then the trailer just tells you everything, so...
Well, I'm excited to watch that.
How's it look to you?
It looks fun, wacky.
That looked real wacky.
Is it that wacky?
I don't think it's that wacky. It's more weird than wacky.
Okay.
Which I think there's a distinction of.
Because that seemed like, wow.
Yeah.
And it was just like lots of... I'm making like flashy hand motions while I do that, but it just seemed like really all over the place and in your face.
Yes, I think that is definitely toned down. I think all the wackiness is in that trailer. So you do have wackiness, but you have that 2 minutes spread out over 90 minutes.
Okay, so it's not 90 minutes of like, blah.
No, not at all. Or wait, I hope not. I don't think so. I don't think so. It has been some time since I've seen it. I did see it in theaters about 6 years ago. Okay. I think for Halloween, they played it at an IMAX theater, so I went to see that.
That's fun. I like when the IMAX theater plays like older movies. Mm-hmm. That's fun.
Because, yeah, they're usually better. Mm-hmm. And you know it's going to be good.
And you know it's going to be good.
Because it's Beetlejuice.
And it's a fun time.
It was. Yeah, so I think it's less wacky and more strange and bizarre, and a lot of it is much quieter than that trailer.
Yeah, that was loud.
It was
too.
it was all over the
like
place.
90 minutes of screaming, I assume.
I think a lot of those like boing sound effects and stuff that are all wacky that
Are
were
they
in the trailer.
just in the trailer?
I'm not sure that they're in the movie.
Okay, well,
But
we'll have to see.
Yeah. Either way, it's a fun movie. Little bit of wackiness, a lot of strangeness. It's a movie that when I was a kid, we thought like that's a kid's movie because it's not too scary. Today, no, you can't show it to kids because it's too scary.
No.
But it was a different time in the early 90s.
Kids were wilder.
We were. Look at all the 80s movies about kids. They are up to no good. They're really obsessed with sex, even if they're like 8 years old.
Yes.
And they're like peeping toms, and they're going on pirate ships, and there's no parents around.
It sounds fun.
It was pretty good.
That was not my experience, but
I only went on like one pirate ship though, but I never peeped on anyone. So was I really an 80s kid? Not really. I guess I was a 90s.
You were a 90s kid with me.
Well, Beetlejuice is pretty easy to find. Most of the major platforms have it available for rent, or if you have Netflix, you can watch it for free.
Yes. I am excited to watch this one, and like you said, it's a good warm up to Halloween movie. It looks like
just a little spooky.
Just a little spooky. Are you going full horror for October?
I haven't decided what I'm going to do yet.
Am I going to cry?
No guarantees.
Okay, sounds good. It's like every day.
Yeah, true. That's a good way to look at things. Every day, there's no guarantee if you're going to cry or not. That's how I wake up every morning, I think. Am I going to cry today?
Maybe.
No guarantees. No guarantees.
Well, on that bright note, we'll see you next week back here when Indy and I discuss 1988's Beetlejuice.
Don't say it twice more. Thank you.
Okay, we'll see you next week, everyone. Bye!
Bye, everyone. You can start an endowment. You can start an endowment. An endowment. An endowment. That's it.